The Milwaukee Bucks win Game 6. They completely refuted my theory of the Brooklyn Nets gaining that momentum from Game 5 and going into Milwaukee and winning the game. This is interesting because the Brooklyn Nets did not play with the chess match. Reggie Miller had a crazy tweet, crazy to some, but made sense to me. He said, should the Brooklyn Nets just sit all their guys since they won Game 5 and purposely lose Game 6 and just get ready for a Game 7? Don't let Kevin Durant travel. Don't let James Harden travel. Let them get treatment. This way, they're ready and fresh for Game 7. Brooklyn did not do that. Instead, James Harden and KD played. James Harden was still protecting himself and his hamstring injury. Kevin Durant, of course, he drops his 30-plus odd points. It's that simple. It's just like that when it comes to Kevin Durant. If it's not 30, it ain't him. You know what I'm saying? Like, anything less than 30 is not him. But what Reggie said made sense. Because now you're looking at a Game 7 where Kevin Durant and James Harden have logged major minutes from Game 5 and 6. You're going to be asking for another Herculean effort, a 49-point game from Kevin Durant. As opposed to the Milwaukee Bucks, when you're looking at Giannis antetokounpo, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, those guys have been able to get blows periodically, and they didn't have to exert as much energy or play all 48 minutes for Kevin Durant in the Game 5 and 46 minutes for James Harden Game 5. Game 6, they still logged heavy minutes because they felt like they were still in it when they cut it down to 5 with the 3 from Harris. Now, we are here at the point, and this is where I say that the Brooklyn Nets didn't play the chess match. When they were down double digits and they couldn't get any momentum or traction, the Brooklyn Nets really should have packed it in, especially in the third quarter when they got it back up to like 19, 17. Durant and James Harden should have came out the game immediately to get treatment, to look at film, see how they're playing them, because now it's an energy deficit. If you guys don't know anything about these playoffs, it's been marred with injury. Your rest and recovery matter. So to allow them to play that many games that late into the game when the game was basically out of hand, out of reach, I think it was a bad move on Steve Nash's part. Now, you're looking at the Bucks situation. Force a Game 7. The fans are Bucks in 7. Bucks in 7. And while that feels good, here's the problem. Who do I trust in a tight game more? Giannis or Durant? And right off the top is Durant. You see what I'm saying? So now you're in a pressure-packed situation. I'm not sure that the Bucks really played in a Game 7 like that, or in a situation like this where so much is on the line with that group of guys, right? And you factor this on top of everything, right? The Bucks didn't play a great game. They won Game 6 without playing a great game. And that was what bothers me. The whole time I'm watching the game, I'm looking at Drew Holiday get a couple of layups, then he takes a step back 3. Or Chris Middleton, even though he was like 11 for 16, they'll get an offensive rebound. Instead of running a play, they'll jack up quick 3s. The whole entire team, Brook Lopez, they get an offensive rebound. Instead of running a set, running a play, they want to jack up a quick 3, and the possession is lost. Now, let's just say they played the same game, but the Brooklyn Nets were in some kind of a rhythm, and KD was giving you what he gave you in Game 5. They would have lost Game 6. And that's what my theory and prediction was of them losing Game 6, but they actually were able to pull it out because Giannis didn't take a 3, and he was just getting in the lane. Here's my issue with the Bucks. They are who they are. They play the way that they play. But they have to understand, Game 7 is a different animal. You have to play at a higher clip, higher sense of urgency. You can't take your foot off the gas not once because that crowd in Brooklyn is going to be rocking. And the thing about the Milwaukee Bucks is they tend to play to the crowd. They tend to play down to the pressure of everything. Like you saw it in Milwaukee, the crowd was kind of quiet. They were very maligned. They were like, it felt like they ate like a big Thanksgiving dinner, and they were just there, just kind of like laying back with their hands behind their head. They weren't really screaming, cheering, even when they went up 13 in the third, in the second, in the first up 14. They weren't really getting into the game, and you saw that's why Brooklyn kept kind of hanging around till the fourth. And the thing with the Bucks is they're gonna have to throw out haymakers, uppercuts, left hooks. They're gonna have to bring the energy themselves. They can't rely on anybody else, anything externally. Giannis is gonna have to want to set up and guard guys early and quick, fast, in a hurry. It can't be a situation where they're waiting for something to happen. They gotta make it happen. They gotta force the issue, press the issue. You know, they're gonna have to get to the line. Giannis got 8 foul shots and stuff like that off top. That's how they're gonna have to consistently play. But Budenholzer is gonna have to warn them about this. Possessions matter. They are going to have to value the basketball. That means when they get an offensive rebound, even though the theory is off offensive rebounds, that's the best time to shoot a three. My theory is it's the best time to shoot a three if you're a great three-point shooter. If you're Brook Lopez and you're not really shooting great, or if you're Chris Middleton and you're not really in rhythm yet, run a play, run a set. Get Brooklyn even deeper foul trouble. Don't just jack up quick shots. You have to know time and score. And to me, that's what it's going to boil down to in Game 7. Now, guys might feel a certain way, or they might feel like, all right, well, Brooklyn got this because it's Brooklyn. Look, as much as you want to say Brooklyn has this, understand this about Brooklyn, especially with Kevin Durant. Game 7, he's not that great in Game 7s. James Harden, he's not that great in elimination games. That's all you need to know. So this could go any way. Right now, it's kind of leaning more towards Milwaukee if they could get out early. But if it's a close game, then Durant might be able to close it out. But I'll tell you this: Durant blew a 3-1 lead before. All right, and in that Game 7, he had a bunch of turnovers. So let's not make it seem like, I know Durant is like he's ill, he's dope. But in any kind of Game 7 action he's been in, he has kind of faltered at times. And to Steph Curry, nonetheless, he didn't falter to like another guy like that's comparable to himself. So if he's playing with Giannis and Giannis is going off and he's not really doing anything, or he's trying to like force the issue, we could see a epic collapse on Brooklyn's floor. So I'm not really predicting that, but it could happen. Game 7, if everything's on the line, chips on the floor, can Kevin Durant give you another 50-point game after playing logging all these minutes? Conventional wisdom would say no. I'm going to say he does give you a big game. However, I'm going to say if with all the injuries and everything like that, I'm leaning more towards Milwaukee winning the Game 7. I'm leaning more towards it because there's too much. Now they had a heavy dose of Brooklyn. They should know what Brooklyn wants to do, and they should know how to not play into their hands. And if they don't, that's on them. And that is going to be one of like the worst playoff losses, besides what Philly's doing. But this is going to be one of the worst playoff losses where Kyrie goes down, James Harden goes down, and you can't beat the Brooklyn Nets. That doesn't make sense. Hoops Junction, Hoops Meets Hoopla. Like, comment, subscribe.